Excellent. Well, we now have Truth in Telecoms. Johnny, how are you?
Good. I'm doing good, my friend. How are you? Back from Paris, and
Exactly.
you're
Yeah,
a
yeah.
one-man wrecking crew. You were making the croissants, you were filming it, you were narrating it. It was the most incredible thing, for me, my first year being part
Oh,
of TAD Summit and
yeah.
seeing what you do, and then being around, I don't know how many different trade events or associations or group. I don't even know where to put you in a box. You're literally a one-man show.
Well,
You know,
there's a lot of people that help, as you know. But anyway, with TED Summit, which was 2 weeks ago, it's time flies. I'm just shocked. You know,
yeah.
I opened with you know just a capture where we are as an industry. And I used, basically the elephant in the room whenever we talk about programmable communications, which is Twilio. And I showed through the pandemic, basically their stock price going from 50 up to 450. I mean, there's a saying, you don't analyze stock prices, you psychoanalyze, because I don't understand the metrics and how you achieve that valuation. And now they're back down to 50.
Yeah, no, I spend a lot of time looking at markets, as you know, and
Yeah,
watching stock prices and growing up in New York and fascinated with trading and
yeah,
and stuff like that. And I mean, I put out that one post. I got over 5,000 impressions, and
yeah.
normally I can't get more than 200 because I'm shadow banned everywhere. Where I said, is Twilio going to go under $50 a share?
Yeah.
And then your friend, which is I don't Paul Walsh guy,
Yeah.
starts like, oh, why are you guys beating up on Twilio? I'm like, you
No,
have
no.
go read all the stuff we put together.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
beating up on Twilio.
No, no, not at
Twilio,
all.
Twilio's the industry.
Yes,
Twilio is the standard. Anybody that's
exactly.
raised money has raised money saying we're
Against
like Twilio.
exactly.
So everybody. So and what I guess after we went through the messaging monopolies piece, I mean, there's so much content and information that we put together that was kicked off by what Calera did to Bill Peters
Exactly.
and the complaint and the monopolies within the monopolies within the monopoly. You have the monopoly of the three operators that say they compete with each other, wink, wink, as
Yeah.
long as nobody else comes in, it's just us three.
Yeah, exactly.
And how they've completely so look, the industry needs to pay attention
Yes.
because Twilio has bought their way in or been shaken upside down. It's one of the two. It's not either or.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Either the CEO of Twilio said, okay, because if you think about it, let's start at the beginning. You had the short code registry, right? That
Yep.
went through CTIA and iConnective,
Yep.
right? Then you had the phenomenon of ZipWhip
Yep.
on the 800, right? So what happened
Exactly.
there? ZipWhip cut in the carriers,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
ZipWhip
yep.
said, hey, Verizon, we're going to kick back. They're like, hey, we like this. So they created that whole vehicle and stifled Twilio.
Yes.
Twilio had to buy them for 850 million,
Which was
right?
a crazy multiple. I don't
That's a
understand.
whole nother ball game. I mean, look, Goldman Sachs took Twilio public.
Yeah.
Jim Cramer, Goldman Sachs. Let me just keep
Yeah.
going on here. Who invested in ZipWhip? Goldman Sachs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's always something on the financial side of the equation on why certain things happen. But what
Yeah.
really happened is the carriers got away with whatever doing whatever they want over there.
Yeah.
And then they create the campaign registry under the guise of, hey, we're going to use this to stop spam.
Yeah.
Not the case.
No.
So completely created as to flip the script, as we just spoke about in our last.
Yep.
They flipped the script on Twilio in the industry, right?
Exactly.
So now you're paying a half a penny to a penny,
Yep.
which will be 2 pennies by next year.
Well, there's a
It'll
trajectory at the
climb.
moment.
It'll
Yeah.
just climb. It'll climb because they got to make their money.
Yeah.
And under
Yeah.
the guidelines of stopping spam, as we know now, the campaign registry has no phone numbers in it, but yet
Nope.
nobody cares. Nobody cares,
I mean, but
right?
they could do something, and it just amazes me
They
that the
they don't want
ecosystem.
to. They're not
Yeah.
gonna. Like you reported, how much
Yeah.
money the carriers making every month on call
Yeah.
filtering? What is it?
Exactly. Yeah.
One
Yeah.
to 3 billion. How many billions of dollars are making off A2P? But who's getting crippled here? I mean, the
Yeah.
innovators, the
Exactly.
companies.
exactly.
But
Because it,
Twilio, look, it aggravates me. I mean, their stock is going to stay between 40 and 60. Why?
yes,
Because they're 83% owned by institutions
correct.
that bought at higher prices.
Yes.
So what does Twilio do now? Today, I think it's at $54,
Yeah. Yeah.
up $4. It hit 49.99, I believe, the other day.
Yeah.
So it's just day traders hedging it. It stays within a certain
Yeah.
area.
Band. Yeah.
They up and down. Same
Yeah.
thing with
Yeah.
Cinch.
That's true.
Cinch is
Actually,
even more
yes.
heavily traded, but the trading
Yes.
volume on Twilio is about a million two shares,
Yeah.
where it was
That's right.
upwards of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 million shares a day when it was
Oh, yeah.
trading heavy. So the
Exactly. Yeah.
markets are important. They're
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah.
And you brought up, okay, well, the carriers were jealous of Twilio's market cap. There's
Yeah.
no question about it.
Yeah.
They had an $80 billion market cap.
That's back in
Right?
so 2021. That at its peak, it took them a couple of years, but boy, they've.
But look at all the money that was raised. I mean,
Yeah.
InfoPips raised money through
Yes.
One Equity Partners.
Yeah.
One Equity Partners is J.P. Morgan.
That's right.
They
Yeah.
were supposed
Yeah.
to go public. I mean, MessageBird raised at a 3-point-something billion valuation.
Oh,
Vonage they just had to write down whatever they had to write down.
yeah, about 3 billion. Yeah.
But meanwhile, the whole industry, SMS is under attack. But
Yes.
Twilio, the only reason why everybody's around is because they sued the carriers. They sued Cineverse. Because
Exactly.
Cineverse was the person, Cineverse was the gatekeeper saying,
exactly.
carriers don't shut them down. We don't want spam. Now all of a sudden they pay Cineverse $750 million.
Yes.
And as you know, I have a personal issue with Cineverse because they really destroyed the third hub in the U.S. They destroyed Tintec, which was a German company.
Yeah.
It's funny, T-Mobile is a German company, but that's okay, right? So that was one of the comments back then. But which I really want to go down that rabbit hole. So I'm angry. I'm angry at really Cineverse, and Twilio became Cineverse now. I hear rumblings that they're not, they are, they aren't, they don't know.
Well, it's unclear.
We don't get any value. We did get a value. If you read the press releases of what did you get?
Yeah.
You took a minority stake in what? So Jeff, the CEO of Twilio, is either paying protection money or whatever he's trying to do. Cinch, I think they're going to get hammered by Cineverse. I mean, they're just handling the P2P and the A2P for Verizon, but they don't have directs with everybody else.
Nope.
So the industry needs to pay attention. They need to read messaging monopolies.
Yeah.
They need to ask questions. So after your 2 weeks of your brilliant TAD hack, look, I think the industry now needs to really refocus.
Exactly.
And, Rick Joyce was a while back talking about the antitrust implications here.
Yes.
How the carriers got together, not for a nonprofit, for a for-profit. Created the campaign registry as a for-profit.
Yes.
And gave it to some company in Italy.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, well, that is sort of evolved.
It's a for-profit.
It evolved into that. But yeah, because the way
it's only a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. Because the jealousy drove a whole range of things that came out of that. I mean, we've seen globally the rise of fair share, and that's resulted in price rises, not just here in North America, 0.5% an SMS or above, and all the charges around all the processes that are wrapped around that. We've even seen on international SMS termination, price rises around the world. So all carriers have looked on and go, wait a minute, they're just reselling SMS. And look at the money they're making. Well, we can charge more. It's not. That Twilio are doing a hell of a damn sight more in terms of delivering solutions to businesses to solve their workflow problems for which they will pay. But that price rise...
I remember when Twilio, before they went public, they were touting $1 billion valuation, and they thought that was big. I remember some of the inside guys like, wow, we're going to be worth $1 billion. Little did they know that they got taken over. And I think the CEO of Twilio did a phenomenal job. I mean, the guy's an innovator. The guy... he really cares about building tools and products and helping developers. I mean, he was for the developers, by the developers.
Exactly.
And then he got eaten alive by Wall Street. And Wall Street said, no, tell him you're a software company. Shh, Stas. We get 20 times multiple.
From Amazon. I mean, his history drives him to say that,
But no, it's not history. It's investors behind it. It's the institutionals. It's Wall Street that
Yeah.
turned around and created this narrative.
Yeah.
And when they're just a telco, right? Twilio's a telco. It's a toolbox for developers, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Mainly messaging at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They make a ton of money on voice.
Yeah.
But so look, I think the industry's got to root or scream at Twilio to stand up again and take on what's happening here.
Exactly.
Because it's not going to, and if they don't, they don't.
I mean, just one anecdote that really drove me. I was talking to Jason Goecki. He was the founder CEO for Troppo. Troppo was a competitor to Twilio back in the day. And he's been off doing a whole range of other interesting things. And he's got a party with Jose De Castro. So Jose was the CTO, co-founder for Troppo. And they've got a party planned. And of course, they're geeks. So he was building an app for the party, a little bit like one of the TAD Hack winners, Dream Ages. And he was, getting the hack set up, because he's still, a coding geek. Go is his language. I mean, I'm trying to persuade him Python is better. But anyway, that's beside the point. And he was, he was like, okay, I need to do outbound SMS. And he just discovered, oh my God, what's the pricing? What's the process? Because he hit the TCR for wanting to do an outbound SMS. And he was like, he gave up.
TCR, Aegis, this one.
All this
Who do you
stuff.
call? Who do you call?
It was ridiculous. But also the pricing is killing off a whole host of use cases. I mean, we've already seen, with sort of artificial, traffic pumping, like Elon Musk was going 60 million carriers. It's bad actors. Bad actors.
He was paying a lot more than that. That's what he knew of.
Oh, that's exactly, because they're just basically getting you, to send the passcode through to a dodgy number that basically is charging them a ridiculous price. So and it's all on the web. You can basically see how to create these, basically campaigns to earn money through basically, doing the international SMS termination. So it's not telcos being bad, they're just doing the pricing they're doing, and they're going, fair share, I want more money, because it's all SMS, and it's not. There's a host of value add on top of that. But what they're doing is they are killing innovation. They are killing the market around PSTN services. I mean, we're seeing a decline in 2FA. We were talking about it at TAD Summit, the rise of passkeys. I use passkeys because it's so easy. I know I get very few. I would say the only time I get past 2FA now is for financial transactions, where it's confirming. So I've used passkey to get onto the app, and then I get and then maybe a password check for the transaction, and then if it's of a certain value, they'll use an additional layer on top. So that's dropped down. I mean, Twitter is using
and they talk
email.
about, how about flash call? They did it at MEF, flash call. Flash call is illegal. It's toll bypass.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, flash call. People like this flash call. Of course you do. Not paying a toll.
Exactly. And it's used in some markets, not every. And that, again, is additional complexity that just pushes basically businesses away from using just the ubiquity that was there. So, Twilio's back down at 50. And as we say, it's going to be there.
The stock is not going anywhere. I mean, look, Amazon 4 months ago, what, $117 million they spent on $61 a share. They bought 1.7 million shares.
Yes.
Look, so they're there. People need Twilio. I mean,
exactly.
Fundamentally, we'll see how their numbers come out. They have $3.6 billion in the bank. If you take away their debt of 1.2, they still have quite a bit of cash to keep running.
Exactly.
But what's going to happen is it's going to get cannibalized. And it's either Twilio made a deal on the inside, which I believe could be the case, or they're just naive and got shaken around.
I mean, that's a hell of a lot of money.
They wanted to sit at the table with the very people that they fought against. So who's going to fight? Who's going to fight? I don't see anybody talking. I see Vanish writing off $3 billion instead of spending $10 million on legal.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Well, let's write off $3 billion. Forget the $10 million we could spend. Yeah. So there's a clear case here.
Yeah.
And look, monopolies don't work.
Nope.
They're not good. Nothing good that comes out of a monopoly.
Well, it's good for the monopolist and the old boys network that surrounds it. It's not good for innovation, because that, for me,
I had one of the three hubs.
Yeah,
right?
you did.
So
Yes.
you could call me a wannabe monopolist, except they cut out Tintec,
Yes.
destroyed that,
Yeah.
which I can't wait to do that piece with you. We got to take some time and go into
Yeah.
it because
Because
it's
it is
really
an amazing.
mind-boggling what they
Yeah.
did. Because now we're all fighting with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, Dorston threw everybody off the board. You're off Tintec Island, and we're all fighting. Why? Why?
Well, because there's
Cineverse.
a yeah.
So Twilio. So you're telling me Jeff Lawson decided to give $750 million for a company in Tampa.
Plus 850 with ZipWhip. I mean,
The
I know
ZipWhip was a complete another ball game.
But I know it's another ball game, but that's
ZipWhip
a
they
ton of
owned.
money.
But ZipWhip they owned, right?
Yes.
Then they shut it down. They owned it. They had good margins. They decided to shut it down. Now the 800 is opening up, and now there's the 800 registry. So now Twilio's the 800 registry.
Yes,
you got to register with Twilio.
Yeah.
Do you think Twilio started off their business? Jeff Lawson said, "Oh yeah, I want to be a registry." No, he didn't. That's not why he started it. So he's being cannibalized.
Correct.
And now you've got Cineverse has got their own CPaaS platform. How does that work? You got these companies that are setting up. Oh, come directly to us. How does that work? Do they pay the fees? So where are all the companies? Where is everybody? Your community, I like to call them the smart kids, which you really showed this week to me. Some of the presentations and these unique companies and some of these innovative companies. But where is the rest of the industry? Everybody. I mean, Kalera, they went public on being baby Twilio. They're not even a CPaaS company. They're just an aggregator. Wait till Tata finds out what they really bought outside of the campaign registry, which they think they can sell, but they don't even know what they bought, Tata. Yeah. And speaking of Tata, so we'll talk about it next week, but they've decided to take the lawfare. We call, there's warfare. So they've decided to take all these lawsuits, Julia Pizzone, Terry, and Bell, and try to beat them into death financially.
Exactly.
That's what they decided to do. So we'll get some of that stuff out for next week.
Prevaricate.
And make him beat him into death with lawyers. I mean,
that's it.
Littler is still representing Kalera. I don't know what you call it anymore. You call it Kalera. It's still Kalera. They still have the brand. Tata owns it.
Well, it's owned by Tata, so you just go straight to the top. Who's the boss?
But it's the same old game. I'm a little upset about it. So we'll see what happens this week with some of that stuff. They're going to try to beat everybody to death, and we'll see what happens soon here with the operators and with the campaign registry. I mean, spam is still going crazy. Now people are starting to realize that stir shaking doesn't work finally.
Well, I mean,
after $500 million being spent.
But it's not a solution, I mean, you still have it enables you to point to where it came in, but it's still not stopping it. We just need a call to action to the industry. It's like, let's just get together and let's just solve this damned problem using cross-industry expertise rather than, hey, our telco island can solve everything. And
I was just at I went to the Vaughn event. So I actually had a chance to meet Jeff Pulver. First time I kind of spooked him. I said, "You destroyed my industry. You cost us all millions of dollars." And he didn't know which way to run. Who let this guy in? And but he couldn't have been kinder. I met his sister. His sister's amazing, sweetheart. Thomas Howe was there. Yeah, he spoke. What a great business he's created there, Strollid. And Jeff's getting behind this trusted number identity with. I met that Noah Rafalco, who one of the. Yeah, I guess he has patents. It seems like I've met 5 companies that all say they have patents for the blockchain, except Jeff Pulver is saying it's Noah Rafalco and TNID, and standing behind that. Now, I don't know how many people listeners know who Jeff is. I mean, Jeff changed the game. The Pulver Act. The Pulver
exactly.
Act
in the
changed the game. I mean, the guy he destroyed my industry, completely cannibalized it. WhatsApp and all these products, and even OpenSIP we were just talking about. It's on VoIP, right? What is it? So he changed the game. So it was really nice to meet him and see some of the people speaking over there. But I mean, there's solutions that are out there, and I think that as an industry,
You just, we it should
It's
be
identity. Comes
solved.
down to
It's all
identity.
about identity, using
Yeah.
basically immutable identity. It's as simple as that. And having an open discussion so we can go, guys, this is the category that solves the
But they're
problem.
not going to stop. It's not going to happen. The carriers are not going to stop
Nope,
robocalling.
nope,
They're not going to stop spam.
nope.
The only way this identity products get deployed or are through the banks that are losing billions of dollars. They don't care about the consumers. I mean, what in Singapore, what they're making, they want the banks and the telcos to take responsibility for the consumer being scammed. Can you imagine if they try to do that in the U.S., the lawsuits? But it's true. I mean, they should be responsible. Why is the consumer responsible? I buy my phone from whatever carrier.
Yep.
Why am I getting robbed? Because you won't protect me.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, and then what? It'll all go to a closed network and then going past the bypass. So it's just one big full circle.
Yeah, I know. But
you know?
I just, the thing that got me is just how Jason reacted to how difficult it's become to innovate on.
Innovation is going to get crushed.
Exactly.
You're going to get crushed.
And that's why we need a call to action. Twilio needs to get back fighting again, like it did in the past. I think the industry needs to get fighting, but also fighting in intellectual capability, in showing, guys, what you've created with the TCR is so legacy thinking. It's people writing on bits of paper. They don't even.
But the question is, did he get turned upside down, or did he join the cabal? What did Twilio do? Did Twilio just say, you know what, I want an advantage? I'm in. Give me direct connects. I have an advantage. I had a lower rate on the campaign registry. I prepaid. They're the whole market. All these companies, they call themselves a CPaaS company. You're not a CPaaS company. You're an aggregator.
Yeah.
But now, and internationally, so it's interesting to see where this goes. Yeah. But the industry needs to get up and scream.
Yes, I agree.
And you do, as the only voice in the industry. I mean, we talked to an unnamed book club when Rick was around, as far as some of their large customers and some of the CCAS, UCAS, all pretty upset about access and whatever.
Yes.
But nobody wanted to step up the table and file a suit.
Yeah.
Bill Peters filed a suit.
Yes.
Bill Peters filed a lawsuit with a gentleman named Ron Schutz. Yes. Ron Schutz take it on,
Visa, wasn't it?
Everybody. Yeah. Well, Roberts Kaplan got a $6.8 billion settlement at Visa, but he took on Jack Welch.
That's right.
I mean, he's the executive chairman of Roberts Kaplan. He got lucky, Bill. But, everybody else is going to get beaten into submission. But Twilio, we're not hating on you, Twilio.
No,
we love you, Twilio. We need you the whole industry needs you. Everybody needs a roof for Twilio because the valuations went 20 times. I mean, you had little companies being sold for 6, 8, 10 times revenue.
Yes.
Now it's a half time, a quarter time revenue, a tenth of revenue.
Yep.
So who wins?
Well,
and nobody and we're the only ones screaming. So, Alan, you need to start the screaming now a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Because what you proved to me on what you did at TAD Summit and what you do in this industry, there's nobody like you. I don't know how long I'll be doing this show with you, but you have to find a way to get that call to action and get some of these people to call you. They won't call me. Although, funny, one of the people in the messaging actually connected with me on LinkedIn. I'm like, did you not read everything? You're going to connect with me? Like, really? So I sent her all the stuff. I sent Bill's complaint. I sent her messaging monopolies. Didn't get a response.
Although I did hear at the Von event, you were scaring some of the lawyers there, and we're holding on to them so they couldn't run away.
Scare one of them. Actually, no, I was just scared. Well, one of the lawyers had a conflict, and he was like, I shook his hand. He's like, "Oh, I gotta go. Can't talk to you." But look, I mean, we're gonna fight to the end with Bill, and Bill Peters, and it's like one of my lawyers buddies said. Don't they realize that eventually the press is going to pick up on all of this? Like, they don't get it. Like right now, you and I are screaming, and we can't get ourselves arrested with people outside because it's complex.
Yes.
Even people in the industry don't understand the pieces you wrote. How many arguments did we have with people when I had to write that one article that got hundreds of views People don't even understand what you're writing. So I
Yeah.
think we got to find a way to like dumb it down, like,
Yes.
build a wall, or,
Yeah.
whatever, Lion Ted, or whatever, Lion Calera, or whatever we got to
Whatever
do. We got
simple.
to
Yeah.
simplify the messaging,
Yeah. But I
but
think
Twilio,
there's two things. I think there's the broader, communication out to the general public so the press gets it. I think that, we've tried, but you know how it is. It needs dumbing down. And the other is the industry. That's all the innovators need to get together, act, and show that
we've had quite a few people watching us, and everybody's afraid. And the only thing you need to be afraid of, their valuations are toast. If
exactly,
Twilio lost $71 billion in market cap, what did you lose?
exactly. Yeah.
Don't look at their numbers or whatever you want to talk about, or their margins or how much they're making or whatever it is, because it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's trading off their look at Ring Central. I mean, look at their valuation. They were up over 450 a share too. They're at
Yeah.
$28 a share.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So you look at all these different companies, and they need to stand up. People need to read the stuff, and you need to put together some newer stuff.
Yes.
And we need to simplify things.
Exactly.
But we're just starting.
Yep. No.
We're not going to go away, because I think our mission is to. I know we can stop spam.
Yes.
The robocalling, I don't know. I think these identity products. I think Jeff Pulver was really, really high on TNID, trusted number identity product that Noah Rafalco has.
Exactly.
We got to get him on. We got to get. I met him. Could be sweeter. I mean, I've talked to him before. Could be a sweeter guy. He's been in messaging forever. The guy knows the industry up and down.
Yeah.
But I met 3 other people that say, no, we have that guy. No, we have. Who
doesn't matter.
Who has what?
Get it out in the industry.
Yeah,
let the industry discuss. And then just fucking act.
But they're wasting their time with the operators.
Yeah.
I believe the financial industry, the banks, the ones that are losing the money, paying out the money. Operators aren't paying anybody. They're just collecting.
Yes, that's true.
You get your identity taken, or somebody's phishing attack or whatever. You call them, they're like, get lost. So they're not responsible. So why do they care?
You're right.
What? The attorney generals don't care, because they get elected every couple of years. All they care about is, we are going to do something about this. You're going to do nothing about it because you don't understand it. And the FCC doesn't understand it either.
Well, we're
going to do this. We're going to do that. And they really can't do anything. I mean, at the end of the day, messaging is an information service.
Yeah, that's true.
So where are they going?
Yeah.
At the end, I mean, the new rule with the TCPA, where if you text somebody on the do not call list, that could be problematic. If lawyers,
that has to be tested, though, because it's do not call, it's not do not text. So
it's very complicated. So I don't know.
Well, we'll see. But anyway, I think we've got a plan. Got to dumb down the stuff.
You got a plan. You got to be Alan Quayle. You got to call this the Alan Quayle Show. I don't know how long we do this.
Call to act. Yeah. You keep telling me you're old, Johnny. You're not. Okay.
No, it is. I love doing it. But I'm saying, but in the industry, people respect you. People listen to you. People got to hear you more. The book clubs need to really lean on you for somebody who tells the truth. That you say things that other people can't say or won't say. We need to push out there.
Yeah, no,
and that's it. So you need to push. You need to.
We have a plan.
Get on your horse.
Execute on it.
You're the king of the innovators, the hackathon man. At Summit. Who else is going to do it?
Well, I will represent the innovators I know and help them. Basically, because we are hitting a crunch. There's no 2 ways about it. And
Twilio, brick wall, my friend. Brick wall. It's coming.
It's a brick wall, and we got to do something about it. So,
all right,
it's going to be a busy 2024. Let's put it like that.
You got it, buddy.
Thanks so much, Johnny.
I'll talk to you later, kid. Bye bye.